Good day, my mighty Baboon. We are back in our Factorio walkthrough, and you may notice that I'm currently producing science packs. And that's because today we have two objectives. We are going to start a proper iron and copper foundry, but more important, we are going to start some research. So why do we need to research? Well, you may have noticed that we just have a limited amount of components at a time that we can build. And if we could just build that, the game will be fairly short, right? So there must be something else. Well, if you press T, you can see the research tree in this window. And each of these research is going to unlock some new items. So for example, military, it will unlock a submachine gun, a shotgun, and shotgun shells. To unlock research, we need to place science pack in a lab. And for this one, for example, we will need to place 10 red science packs, and each science pack will be consumed in 15 seconds. Research at the beginning only need red science pack, but later in the game we are going to unlock other kind of science pack like green. There is also blue, purple, yellow, and then white. At the very beginning of the game, there are two very important research that we want to do. The first one is logistics, and the second one is automation. Logistics is going to give us separators and underground belts, and automation is going to give us assembling machines. Alright, so we already have some science packs. So what we need to do now is to build a lab, and it's going to be a while before everything in the queue is built. So let's skip some time a little. Alright, we are back. We have our lab. Let's place it next to the poles. Labs does not take much electricity, just 60 kilowatts. So that should not be too much of a strain on our network. And then let's place our red science. You can see all the kinds of science that we're going to unlock in the game later. 20 science will be just enough to unlock logistics. And that's really the most important research that we want at the moment. We really need these splitters. If we look at the next research, automation, we can see that we need 10 more red packs. So let's build them. And the logistics research is going to take some time. So while it's researching, let's expand our mining operation. Last time we started to generate power. So now what we want to do is, instead of using these runner drills, we want to start mining using electric drills. I already have a few in my inventory. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to place them here. For iron, 4 should be enough at the moment. Let's put some poles around the drills. I also want to put the mine ore on the belt. And let's see. I want to bring the ore around here. And this is where we are going to smelt it. So let's drag the belt. We need to cut some tree along the way. And here looks fine. We are going to do the same thing for the copper. I'm not going to place 4 for the copper. 2 is going to be enough for the early game. And same thing, we want to put the copper ore on the belt. And also put some poles. Now we just have to drag the poles back to our network. And I'm going to place poles at the limit between the coal ore and the iron ore, so that we don't waste space for miners later. And here it is. We can see we start to mine iron ore. We can also see that we consume much more electricity. We also have the 60 kilowatts from the labs. And talking about the lab, we are just at 52% of logistics, so let's wait a little. I'm just going to put the remaining packs and see ya in a moment. Alright, we are back. The logistics research is finished, and if we check our crafting menu, we can see that we have 2 new items. Let's build a few of them, and I'm going to show you how to use them. I will also put them in our quick bar because we are going to often use them. The underground belt is real simple to use. You can just put one next to a belt and then drag to the other side. Now all the items that goes under the underground belt will arrive to the other side. Now for the splitter, as its name suggests, it's going to split one conveyor belt into two. You can just use a splitter that way. Alright? Now why did we need that? We are going to soon start our smelting operation, and to smelt, we need to bring coal at the same place that we brought the iron and copper. So I'm going to put a splitter here, and you see half the coal is still going to go to our steam power plant, but the remaining is going to go to our smelting operation, that is going to be north. So like the iron, let's take the coal north. Oh, and I forgot, let's also start the automation research. As you can see, if there is an obstacle on the way and you have underground belts, it's going to automatically place them. However, we want to save them, so let's remove the rock and put belts instead. I do not have enough belts, I need to craft more. Sorry about that. And let's go. Alright, the automation research is finished. We now have the assembling machine, but we also have the long-handed inserters. Assembling machine will let us automate any kind of production, and long-handed inserters will give us more flexibility on how we want to feed and take items from assembler machines. Okay, so we have arrived at the place that we want to have our foundry. So around this place we are going to smelt iron and copper ore. So I'm going to place a furnace here. And we do not want to feed anything manually, so we will need a belt with half a lane with iron and the other half with coal. We put inserters in and out. So on the left it's going to take coal and iron, and on the right it's going to deposit iron plates. So I will show you now some techniques to split lanes. There is different way that you can have a half lane of something on the belt and a half lane of another thing. The first way is just to have, let me show you. You just need to have the two belts of what you want face each other and then put a belt in the middle. So you can see now we have half iron, half copper. So that's going to be the easiest way. There is another way that takes some more place and some more components. Instead of having just the two belts facing each other, you could have two splitters facing each other. So it takes more space. But the advantage here is that you can have one belt up and also one belt down. So most of the time we are going to use the first technique, but in this specific case, and you will understand why, we are going to use the second one. Alright, let's clean everything. We don't need iron and copper here, we need iron and coal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to place a splitter here and another here. So on the bottom we will have iron and on the top we will have coal. And so we also have one belt that goes this way and then up. And then we will have coal go on the left. We then need an underground belt to bring the coal belt to the splitter. We need a third splitter, and that's because we will want to daisy chain a lot of these smelting operations. So here you can see we have half iron, half coal, and we just need to bring some electricity to the inserters so that we can start smelting. Let's do that. Great, it's working. There is a small issue with this design though, and it's that an inserter is always going to deposit an item to the right lane of the belt. That means with the current design, we will only have half an iron plate belt. And that's not what we want. So what I'm going to do is put exactly the same design, but just on the other side. And that's why we need the splitter here, because now I can just drag the belt of iron and coal to the furnace. And it doesn't look very symmetrical. You really don't have to do that, but I would prefer to have the splitters in the middle. Alright, now I feel better. And so you can see that now we have one full belt of iron plate. Exactly what we want. So now that we have our design in place, we just want to expand it. I'm going to place 6 more furnaces. I also need to put some inserters. And the poles. And that should be enough capacity for the other game. Let's cut some tree. I want more iron plates on the belt. And now the next step is going to be to do exactly the same thing, but with copper. We're going to place the copper operation just next to the iron one. And we're going to daisy chain the coal. And before we do that, it looks like we need more coal. So let's go back to the coal ore patch. And I'm going to add 2 more drills. That should be enough at the moment. Alright, so we don't want to do everything from scratch again, so I'm going to show you how to use blueprints. First, let's finish the daisy chain part of this design. We need to put an underground belt here. And now what we can do, we can press Alt B or click on this button at the bottom, and then you just have to drag, and this will create a new blueprint. A blueprint is like a recipe that you can reuse. So here is our blueprint. I'm going to do a right click here to remove this belt. Let's put a good name. I'm going to call that copper and iron smelting. And let's create the blueprint. I now have the blueprint in the hands, and if I press B, I can then deposit the blueprints, and it's something that I can reuse later. You can see there are 2 tabs, My Blueprints and Game Blueprints. The difference is My Blueprints is something that is shared across saves, but Game Blueprints is only for this game. You can also create recipes books. I just created one by clicking on the button at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to call that Factorio Walkthrough. I'm going to put all the recipes that I create for the walkthrough in here, and to keep things organized, I'm going to put another book into this book, and I'm going to call that Episode 3 Smelting. So you can nest books into each other. So now let's go back to the top of the hierarchy and let's drag the copper and smelting. Let's drag it into episode 3. So if you would like to reuse my design and have access to this blueprint, check the description, there is a link below. Let's take the blueprint and let's place it. And my dear friend Baboons, I messed up. It doesn't align well, so I will need to do it again. Let's have a look. Like you can see, the 2 underground belts do not align with each other. Yeah, I will need to modify it. That's okay. We are not in a hurry. We want the underground belt on the left to align with the underground belt on the right. So let's remove these belts. And we just need it to go straight. Is it better now? Let's have a look. We need to create a new blueprint. Again, let's call it the same name, copper and iron smelting. I'm going to place it again in the book. And we don't need the first one, so let's delete it. And let's see. Well, yo Baboon effed up again. Still not right, I need to remove the underground belt on the left. And that should be fine. Yeah, that's so much better now. Great. Now let's remove these two trees. And having the blueprint on the ground is going to make our life much easier. Let's drag the copper. And let's build our copper foundry. Alright, looks nice. We just need to bring electricity now. Great. That's really great. So we now produce iron and copper plate. And before we finish this episode, I just want to show you one last thing. It's how you can export and import blueprints into the game. So to import blueprint, we have this button here. You have many websites that provide Factorio blueprints. You just need to copy the link and put it here. And that's going to import a new book into your inventory. If you want to export, let's export our book, for example. You can see here there is an export button here. You just need to copy this string and then go to any website that can host your book. Personally, I use Factorio bin. It's easy to use. I just need to copy the string here and submit. And now everybody can find this book here at this link. The link is in the description, so if you want to copy it, you just need to navigate to this link. View is just going to show you the string, so you don't need to click on that. What you want to do is just click on the copy button and then go back to your game. And as I said earlier, you just need to click on the import button and paste the string here. And here we go, we have a second book now. Alright, I obviously don't need 2 copies of my book, so I'm going to delete one. And that's going to be it, my friends. I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to support your French baboon. And in the next episode, we are going to start using automation machine to automate red science. See ya!